Hello everyone. In today's video, we are going to be doing some goal setting together. I have been doing this for a while off camera, and I decided to press record and take you all along with me. So initially, I was watching a video from a YouTuber to get started, and so I have done this. Like I said, I've already gotten started, so I'll take you all through what I've done. I set up my index, not perfect, but it's going to still be very helpful. And then I have good goal features. And then on this page, I've actually started to write my goals. So every other page is like a guideline and then a goals. So the first page, the goals that I have is a subscriber count, and I have time frame, goal, and my why. So I started YouTube June 2026. The first goal is to get 10 subscribers. And then I put my why. The video also included a scale which says whether it is enjoyable, practical, impactful, and challenging. So I rated it as a 3 out of 5 in terms of enjoyable, 5 out of 5 in terms of practical, 4 out of 5 in terms of impactful, and 5 out of 5 in terms of challenging. And challenging means it's healthy level of challenge. It's not going to be difficult, but it's just a healthy level of challenge starting off. And then I put S because it's a short-term goal, and then I put that it's an outside goal, meaning that I don't control my follower account. All I control is if I post or not. My second goal is to graduate with my master's degree in psychology with an emphasis in life coaching. And then it's obviously a short-term goal because that is something I'll be done with in the next year. So over here I have the key for how I determine if it's long-term, short-term, or mid-term. Short-term is anything between a few days to a year. Mid-term is 1 year to 5 years, and long-term is 5 years plus. And so graduating within the year is obviously short-term, and that's an inside goal. My E was a 4, P was a 5 in terms of practicalness. Impact is 5, and challenge is 5. Again, moderately healthy, or I keep forgetting, healthy level of challenge. So on the next page, on this side, we have whether it's inside or outside, like I just said, and then more goals on this page. So starting my journal plan, I rated them all 5 out of 5. And then achieving a sales goal, E is a 3, P is a 4, I is a 5, and C is a 1. So 1 means overwhelmingly difficult. That sales goal is gonna take a lot of work, is essentially what I'm saying. And then there's some pages here. But the goal page I was working on right now is this one. This is the content goals. So post 53 videos on this channel. E is a 3, which means it is somewhat enjoyable. Practical, 5 out of 5. Impactful, quite impactful. And challenging, it is a healthy level of challenge. It's a short-term goal. It's an inside goal because it's something I can control. And then my next goal is to post at least 27 videos on my podcast. Give me 1 second. I have to go find the other marker. Okay, so we said post at least 27 videos on the podcast. Now I'm gonna put the EPIC again and rate it. Here is my brown pen. Brown marker, but where's my pen? One second. Okay, I found my pen. So we are going to... How enjoyable might that be? I think it'll be quite enjoyable. So 4 out of 5. How practical is that? I'd say quite practical. 4 out of 5 again. How impactful will that be? 5 out of 5. Very impactful. And then how much challenging will it be? 4 out of 5. A decent level of challenge. And so then as my why, I'm going to say because podcasting will help me with my future career as a thought leader, speaker, and coach, and allow me an outlet to help people become their healthiest, wealthiest, and happiest. Okay. So those are the things I do with the pen. I just filled that part in. And now with the brown marker, this is a Cali Art pen. I write with the fine tip. I'm just gonna write time frame. I like to put when I started. So I started this podcast July 2026. And then posting 27 videos is a short-term goal. So I'm going to use the brush tip of this blue one and put it as a short-term goal. And then is it inside or outside? Is it something I can control? It is something I control. So that's the full table. Now, I am going to try to fill this out as much as I know in terms of my goals. I have lots and lots of pages. I don't presume to need all of them filled out right now. I do just want to have a really good gauge. So the first half of this journal I'm using for morning pages, but I wanted to use the second half of the journal for goal setting. So I have my iPad here that I just grabbed. I'm going to look at some goals that I have on here in my digital journal to help me come up with some ideas. So let's see. I always struggle with like goals. I don't know why. So I'm going back to my 2026 goals. Let's see. Content. Where's content? Content right here. So I'm going to the content life area and I'm going to put more content goals there. The next goal I'm putting is to get to 100 subscribers. On the channel. Okay. And I'm going to put my why. My why is because I want to So I just said because I want to create a community around doing something I naturally love while living my life. I think when it comes to my content, I don't try to make it something that it's not. So I don't pretend like I'm someone who does all these things that I don't really do. I stay at home, so most of my content relates to staying at home and achieving goals because those are the type of things that I do. So the timeline is, again, started YouTube. Started YouTube June 2026. And then I still think, you know what? I'm going to put it as a midterm goal because there's no telling how long that might take. If it becomes a short-term goal, even better. But I'm just going to put it as a midterm goal for right now because midterm, again, is a year to 5 years. So I feel like that perfectly gives me enough time. Okay. I just wrote epic and we're going to rate it. How enjoyable will that be? I don't know. It might be a 4 out of 5. How practical is it? Since I made it a midterm goal, it's very practical. If we made it a short-term goal, it would be less practical. How impactful will this be? I think getting my first 100 subscribers would be quite impactful. How challenging would it be? That's the real question. I'm just flipping back through. It would be, I think it would be difficult. Not very difficult, but so a 3 out of 5 is difficult. So that is that one. Oh, and then this is a outside goal. It's not something that I can control. So that is just what I explained to you all. I just wrote it there. And now my next goal, and these are my 2026 goals, by the way, if I didn't already say that. My next goal is to release my physical journal. I kind of already put that one when I said release. No, but I'm going to put it again. I'll put it... I'll put it under work. Release my sacred physical journal. And then my why is because I want to be able to consistently use a journal in my morning routine that relates to everything that I actually do. So in my morning routine created by me, it relates to everything I actually do. Okay, so now we are going to put EPIC, and then we're going to put the start date. This is not something I've started yet, though, so I don't even know how to put that, but it's definitely going to be a medium goal. It's not going to be a short-term goal, because physical journals just take a lot of production. And so the real question is this something I can control? I can't control when it's produced, but I can control that it gets released. So I'm going to just say inside goal. How enjoyable? I think it'll be very enjoyable. So I'll put a 4 out of 5. How practical is it? I think it's a 5 out of 5. How impactful? 5 out of 5. How difficult? It's going to be quite difficult. So let's see. That one would be a decent challenge. I'm going to say very difficult. A 2 out of 5. And then that's that one. The next goal says, get to 1 million steps walked in an entire year. I think I'm already halfway there. That would definitely be a physical health goal. So I turn back to the physical health and we're going to put that there. So get to 1 million steps walked in an entire year. So now when I was watching the video for this, she does her goals quarterly basis, and so short term, midterm, and long term were for quarterly. But I don't do quarterly based goals, and I think a lot of these goals, it would stress myself out to try to assume when they could happen. So I'm not gonna do that. I think that's the biggest thing about when you're watching a video for inspiration. You don't have to do everything that they do. You can make it your own. And that's exactly what I did. So I said for the movement goal, I just want to be more intentional about becoming a healthier version of myself. So how enjoyable will that be? I think we'll say a 3 out of 5 because sometimes I enjoy walking, sometimes I don't. 1 million steps is quite practical for me. It's very doable. How impactful will it be? 5 out of 5. How challenging will it be? A 4 out of 5. It's going to be a little bit challenging to stay consistent and everything. It is a a short-term goal. And it is something inside of me that I can control. Even though it's like 100 every day this week, 100 plus, I can still walk inside. I don't have to use that as an excuse for why I'm not doing it. The next goal says to release my own digital journal. So we're gonna go ahead and put that back here in the work section again. Release a digital journal. This is a short-term goal. This is something I want to get done by the end of this year. Because it doesn't take as much effort. And I already have a lot of the tools necessary. So for the timeline, I'm gonna put to be completed by 12/2026. I didn't have enough room there to write December, that's why I just wrote 12. Let's see. Oh, we're gonna put EPIC. So one thing I want to talk about is how things don't always have to be 100% enjoyable for them to still matter. They can still be very practical and impactful, which is why I love that she had that acronym created. I'm just writing my why. I basically said because I love digital journaling and I want to create something that can help people in their everyday lives. So in terms of enjoyable, I think it'll be much more enjoyable than the physical journal because most of the work will be done by me. I think in terms of practicalness, setting the goal by the end of the year is quite practical. Impact, it's gonna be a 5 out of 5. Challenging, it's gonna be a decent challenge. So that is that. Now this page is full. Let's see. I already put that goal. For leisure, let's do that one. I like that one. And for mental health, I don't have much. Personal development, finances. Okay, so that's what I can talk to you all about. So I did the wheel of life here. I created my own 8 areas. I have motherhood, physical health, mental health, home environment, personal development, finances, romantic life, and content. I felt like that covered everything that I wanted to have. So then I just went in and I rated each one, scale of 1 to 10 on that side. And then on this side, I'm putting goals related to that area.